Hi, today we're going to talk about gut hooked pike. Now, what happens to the best of us? It's just one of those things of pike fishing. We all try our best not to deep hook a fish, but sometimes it just happens. The pike is so unpredictable. Now we can't really be sure what's going on when we've got our bait out there and when we get a take. Sometimes that pike can woof that bait down real quick, and it just happens. So what do we do about it? And for beginners out there, it looks a bit daunting, and if you're using treble hooks, it's a real problem, or can be. So what I've done here is mocked up the internals of a pike, just so you can see how you can tackle these hooks in the gullet. So if you have a look at what I've made up here, we'll see how we get along. Okay? Right, here's my setup. Doesn't look too clever, but it's the easiest way I can show you really without using a real pike. And we don't really want to stress our pike right now, do we? So here I have a rubber glove inside out, and I've already put a treble hook in place of what should be the gullet of the fish. So you've got to pretend you're looking inside the fish here, and it's just I've just drawn a pike's head for where it's positioned roughly, right behind the gills. Right, so we'll go in a bit closer now. Now I have in the past had to unhook a gut hooked pike. Very rare that happens nowadays, but you've got to keep the tension on the hooks to be able to work on. And when you're working down the throat, it's really difficult. And if you're on your own, it's doubly difficult. So what I do is, as the pike is lying on the mat, then you can put your rod, because you'll still be attached, lay your rod in front of your mat with the reel towards you, and then put in a tent or brolly stake and hold your rod still, as in the next images. Right, so here we are with our pretend treble hook stuck in the gullet. Now when you look down the throat of a pike, that's roughly what you see with the hooks hung up. Now you can put a bit of tension on these hooks, and you can gradually pull the pike's intestine out slightly. It seems horrendous, but you can pull it out a little further so you can see what you're doing. And of course with trebles you can't turn them around, but if you're really careful you can go through the gill cover. You have to lift the gill cover open, and you can go between the rakers. You can see right through, and usually you can see the hooks. And you just got to be very careful. You don't want to touch the gills, the red part of the gills, but you should be able to get through. But with cutters it's difficult, especially for smaller pike. Anything under 8 pound is going to be so small to get in there and get the cutters on the hooks. So larger pike, a lot more room, you can get your cutters in that way. But like I say, you've got to be really careful. It's like doing a bit of surgery. But at the end of the day, we never want to see this. And if you use treble hooks, it's really difficult. So, you know, it's just help for newcomers and that to get round to single hooks. So if a single hook does come down here, it's going to be way easier to get out. And it's better for the pike. It's so much quicker. It's just safer all round. Now, going down the mouth, the throat of the pike, it is more difficult. When you've got your forceps, you can grab a hold of the hook, but it's a job to push on the hook to try and get to unhook it, because the intestines or the gullet will just want to go back. That's why I always say try and come in through the gills, and it's so much easier to grab a hold, keep the tension, and you can turn it over. Anywho, as I said before, keep your tension on your trace and gently go through the gills, and if you get real low down, get a good grip of the hook, you can turn it over and it will come out. It's as easy as that with a proper fish. So trebles difficult, singles easy. When dealing with our pike on the bank, well, yes, we've got to get this pike back in the water as soon as possible, and sometimes with a gut hooked fish it can take a little while to get the hooks out, but there's no need to panic. A fish, a pike, can be out of the water a lot longer than you think, and 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you should be fine. A lot of people say, oh, you want that in the water quicker than that. Give it some recovery time, you know, put it in a net, put it back in the water. But sometimes that can make it too lively when it comes back out, and then it will start flipping when you're trying to work on it. You know, people have got different ideas of how long a fish can be out of water. But here, don't panic. You can give yourself 10 minutes at the most sort of thing, and the fish will be fine. What I'll do one day is I'll tell you a story about a fish out of water, and I'll make you realise that how long a fish can be out of water. But that's another day, so I'll tell you that in another video, okay? But at the end of the day, don't panic, the fish will be fine. If you have got the fish out of the water a little while, if you can somehow pour some water on the pike, you know, open the gills up and pour some water on it, it does help keep the gills damp, whatever, and that can prolong things a little bit. But don't panic, you've got the time, okay? So there we have it. That's the best way I could show you without using a real pike, and I hope that helps a bit. It is a difficult job, but I think if a lot of pikers out there, if they don't want to use single hooks and they just try one treble hook higher up on the rig as normal, but the lower hook put a single on. I think mainly that's because a lot of pikers like to use trebles mainly just to hook their bait fish. And you know, being they use larger baits, but you don't need to use larger baits really, but with trebles you've got something to get a hook into. But if you use singles, you just got to find a different way of using the single hooks without putting them too deep into the flesh of your bait. But anyhow, see how it goes, and I hope this helps, and I'll see you again sometime with some piking stories. Okay, thanks for watching, bye.